So in this question we've been told that a transition year mini company decides to produce and sell keyrings emblazoned with a school logo. They researched an idea and discovered that their projected monthly costs, C, is given by this equation. C is equal to 7 minus P. And their revenues, R, is given by this equation. R is equal to 5P minus P squared. And we're told that small p is the price per keyring in euro. And that makes sense. The costs are dependent on what the price of your keyring is. And then obviously the revenue is very much affected by whatever the price of your keyring. And so we have two formulas. If we make up a price for the keyring and sub them into these formulas, we'll find the revenue that the company would expect to make for that price, and we'll find the costs that the company could expect to spend on making the product for that particular price. So we want to find the range of prices for which this company is going to make a profit, and we're going to use capital P as the letter for profit. And they tell us that the profit is found by subtracting the costs from the revenues or the sales, which makes sense. Your profit is going to be the revenue, the sales you take in, minus the costs, how much you've spent on making the particular products. So I'm going to write down P is equal to R minus C, and then sub in my R and C expressions. So P is equal to 5P minus P squared minus 7 minus P. And I just have to be careful to put the costs in a bracket here so that when I multiply by this minus sign, I not only have minus 7, but a minus by a minus P will give me a plus P. If I don't put the brackets in, I'll make a mistake with one of the signs. So the next line is that P is equal to 5P minus P squared minus 7 plus P, a minus again by a minus is a plus. And then tidying up one more line, we get that P is equal to, well, 5P plus P will be 6P. So we have minus P squared plus 6P minus 7. And we've created a formula that will tell us the profit that this company will make if we sub in a price per keyring. So if we make up a value or a sales price for this keyring and sub it in for P, we'll figure out what the profit this company will make. Now the question is, what are the range of prices for which the company will make a profit? So if you're going to make a profit, well, clearly you have to make more than €0. And so this formula that we've created for the profit has to be greater than 0. I don't like that it starts with a minus P squared, even though we can do the equation like this. We would just draw an N curve for our quadratic instead of a U shape. But I'm going to multiply it across by minus 1 just to get rid of the minus P squared from the front. So if I multiply everything by minus 1, I get plus P squared minus 6P plus 7. And remember, when you multiply by a minus, you have to change the direction of the inequality. So this now becomes less than 0. So how do I finish these? Well, I'm going to find the critical values. On first glance, it looks like this might be factorizable, but it's not. We have to actually go and use the minus B formula. And when we use the minus B formula, we get values P is 1.59 and P is equal to 4.41. So assuming everyone knows how to use the minus B formula, here we have A is 1, B is minus 6, and C is 7. We sub them into the formula and we get two answers. So I'm going to draw the quadratic expression, P squared minus 6P plus 7. So just a sketch, and I'm going to include the two roots on the sketch. So we're looking for points on the curve that are less than 0, so underneath the x-axis, so those points here. And that's between 1.59 and 4.41. So when the price per keyring is between 1.59 euros and 4.41 euros, this company will make a profit on their keyrings. So the second part of the question says that if the mini company decided to charge €2 per keyring, so if small p is equal to 2, what's the monthly percentage profit margin? And we're told that profit margin is found by taking the profit and dividing it by the revenue. And obviously to turn that into a percentage, we multiply that by 100. So I'm going to first work out the profit when the charge per keyring is €2 by taking the formula I calculated in part 1 and subbing in 2. And I get that P is equal to 1. Now, if we read the question carefully, we're told that these initial equations, along with the profit equation, that's for hundreds of euros. So if we get an answer of 1, that means the profit was €100 when they charged €2 per keyring. And the second part of the question is I'm going to find the revenue, the amount of sales that they made when they charged €2 per keyring. So I'm going to sub that into the revenue formula, and I get that R is equal to 6. And again, this is 6 in hundreds of euros, so the revenue will be €600. So it makes sense that the revenue, the sales, the amount they took in will be a good bit bigger than the profit. Obviously, they had to pay costs away when they make a profit. So what's the profit margin? Well, the profit margin, we're told, was the profit divided by the revenue multiplied by 100. So that's 100 divided by 600 times 100, which is 16.67%. And the question says give your answer to the nearest percentage, and so it's important just to round that off to 17%, and that's what's called their profit margin.